Welcome everyone. It is so good to see you, and welcome to everyone who's watching the replay. I want you to know that you are here with us in our hearts, and I invite you to watch this replay as if you're right here in the virtual room with us and just have a beautiful experience. So we have already learned that there are people from all over the world already on this call. We have people in India, in the UK, in Canada, in Lebanon. So I am so grateful to be here with every one of you. And I think that these calls are awesome because you can experience this sense of community. So right at the start, I want to let you know there's a couple different ways you can view this call. If you look for me on my device up in the top right corner, there's a thing that says speaker view. And you can click that and have it so that you can just see the person who's speaking, or you can put it on gallery view, which is my favorite, because you can see everybody that's here with you. And depending on your device, they might all fit on one screen, or you might have to scroll to see different people on the call. But you can kind of play around and find the view that you prefer. And then I've brought you all into the call with your microphone muted. And that's just simply, so like if a dog barks in the background, or if there's noisy construction going on around you, it won't come through on the call. So I encourage you to just keep your microphone muted unless you want to speak. And if you want to speak, you can unmute your microphone with the little microphone icon that's perhaps in the lower left of your screen, perhaps somewhere else, and enter in the conversation at any time. Probably not in the middle of the hypnosis session that we'll do in a little while, but anytime other than that. Let me see if there's any other housekeeping. You're welcome to put things in the comments in the chat as we're going along. I probably won't look at the chat until later on or intermittently throughout, because I found that I get really easily distracted and forget what I was saying. So I see that some people are beginning to chat even now, and I just want to acknowledge the people that are here without their video on. Zoe just joined us from the UK. We have people just all over the world. It's so cool. I was watching I don't know how many of you know John Krasinski. He's one of my favorite actors, and he's started a YouTube thing called, I think it's called Some Good News. And at the end of his broadcast, he's wearing a suit and tie, and then he stands up, and from the waist down, he had on a tutu. And I thought it's so funny how, you know, we all look dignified from here up. But so I wanted to show you all my pants. I'm wearing these wild and crazy leggings that are just super comfortable. And I thought, okay, I'll put on a somewhat put together shirt on top, but I'm just comfortable. And I'm wrapped up in a blanket. So wherever you are, wherever you're joining us from, I'm so grateful to have you here. And I just like to start with a kind of a warm up and an icebreaker just to get us all in the zone. So if you would join me just for a moment, I'd like you to just go ahead and place your hand right up in front of your face. So it's like maybe 10 inches away. And just go ahead and look at that hand and just begin to notice the lines on that hand. Notice the space between your fingers, the space between the thumb and the first finger, the space between that hand and your face, the space around that hand, the space between you and the walls in the room, the space between my words, the space between thoughts. And I'd like you just to imagine, as you're noticing that hand, that you're holding hands with people all around the world on this call, experiencing a sense of togetherness in this space, this safe space. And you can go ahead and relax that hand down. And if you're feeling peaceful right now, I'd like you just to make this symbol. It's like an okay symbol with your ring finger and your thumb. And this is called an anchor. I talked about this on last week's call, if any of you were there. And if not, message me and I'll send you the replay. But anchors are really cool. You can release that now, because what it does is it acts as a trigger to feel a certain thing. So if you hold an anchor when you're feeling really peaceful, Later on, if you're noticing yourself starting to feel a little stressed out or a little bit uncomfortable with things that are going on in life, you can hold that anchor and come back to this feeling of peace that you experienced as you were just noticing space. And so throughout this call, I'll be reminding you to hold that anchor a few times. And what's going to happen is every time you hold that anchor, it's going to build more of a positive feeling into that, so that in the future, you'll have a tool that lets you feel good in under a second. And I like this symbol because it's not something that we tend to do on accident. Whereas some, you know, if we were to do just an okay symbol, that might be something that you would do throughout the day. But this is done with intention that lets you just feel absolutely amazing. All right. Just peeking over at my notes. So I want to have this next hour be a kind of a silly and interactive time. At some points, we're going to just really be getting our bodies involved, and I'm going to do something really silly with you in a few minutes, and I hope some of you will play along with me so I'm not the only person being ridiculous. I did this on a group call yesterday, kind of spontaneously, and we had so much fun that I decided to bring it in today. But I want you just to interact and engage as if we're really all in the same room together, and you're going to find that you get the same benefit as if this were an in-person workshop. So for the first few minutes or so, I'm just going to be talking and sharing essentially some conscious mind tools with you that you can use to experience a sense of resiliency throughout the day. I know some of us have been feeling a little bit maybe fragile, like we've been knocked off kilter, or even like, you know, if life was a snow globe, like that thing has been tipped upside down and shaken and everything is a little bit discombobulated. And I want you to know that there is a part of you deep inside that knows how to experience resiliency. And we're going to tap into that part of you today so that you can move through these uncertain, crazy times from a place of peace. So I'll be giving you some conscious mind tools that you can use with intention. And then the second half of this session, this call, is going to be a hypnosis session that's going to let you just deeply relax, because I could tell you about how to feel resilient and use logic all day long, but when you actually experience resiliency during this time, your body can begin to memorize what it's like to be resilient, and we'll build that into that anchor so that anytime you hold that anchor, you can experience a sense of resilience throughout the day. Does that sound good? All right. Okay, so I'm going to just read a couple testimonials. Last week, I did a call on overcoming procrastination and stepping into experiencing forward momentum, even with everything that's going on in the world, because so many people have said, I want to come out of this time of isolation a few pounds lighter and tanner and in better shape, and then we kind of just sit and watch Netflix instead. And I think so many people are experiencing that I set up a session for procrastination. And like I said, if you message me, I'll send it to you. But I wanted to read you some testimonials just so that I can set an expectation for what you can expect to get out of this call today. So one woman messaged me, and feel free to message me. I love hearing how things have changed for you, and said that she's starting to get up and exercise every day. And then another woman who lives in Scotland said, since the session last week, I've completed a big pruning session in the garden, which I've put off for 2 years, and that area looks fabulous now. I've posted a video on my page offering a Zoom group session that I'm going to host at the end of the week, and I'm running for the first time in a month. I've written 80% of a bedtime audio, and I'll finish it by tonight. So she was saying how awesome it is and that she's sleeping better. So what I'd like you to do right now is just imagine that it's a week from now. It's April 8 plus 7. I can't do math on Zoom, the 15th. Oh, that's my daughter's birthday, April 15th, tax day for us Americans. And you have been experiencing a sense of resiliency for an entire week. And I just want you to notice what's different. Notice how the situations that might be creating some stress have been transformed by a feeling of resilience, by a knowledge that you are strong. And I want you just to playfully imagine that you're typing perhaps a little email to me and telling me about what's different in your life, and think about what you're saying. What's the evidence that you're feeling more resilient? And I'd like you to know that what you're doing right now is you're creating a sort of a roadmap for your subconscious mind. So as we go throughout the rest of this session, even if you don't have a lot of clarity about what that feeling is like, you're helping your subconscious mind know where you're heading, to understand your intention to experience resilience, to truly tap into that part of you that does know how to be resilient, even if you doubt it's there, that it is there inside you at your core. It is your birthright. And then you can just go ahead and come back to this moment. So the definition of resilient is able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions, to be able to recoil or spring back into shape after bending, stretching, or being compressed. And I want you to know that I believe that resilience is the antidote to depression. A lot of people are experiencing a sort of a depression or a slump in their mood. And so if you are one of those people who has been experiencing some depression, I want you to know that this session is going to help bring you to a place where you can release that depression and experience resilience instead. So science shows that mindfulness can create resilience. And if I think a lot of us, when we think of mindfulness, we think of something that takes a long time to develop. You know, perhaps you think of a monk in a monastery who takes a vow of silence or sits in meditation for hours and hours. But if I could show you a way to experience almost instantaneous mindfulness in under a minute, would you be interested? That mindfulness that creates a resilience. So there's this part of you that's incredibly strong, and one of the ways that you can experience that mindfulness is just by using your anchor. I'll be showing you a few ways, but mindfulness is simply a kind of a fancy buzzword that people are throwing around a lot today. And all it means is simply being here, being present. So anytime a person is feeling fragile or anxious or nervous, we're often in the future. So an empowering question that you can bring into your day is just to simply say, where am I in time? And notice, for me, I know there have been times, especially early on when we first got our stay-at-home order, I was thinking, what if this happens? What if this happens? And I was working myself up into a state of panic. I was starting to breathe high in my chest, which is one of the signs of anxiety, and tears were actually starting to come into my mind. And I realized I'm living a week from now, a month from now, and I have no idea what the future holds. And when you just simply take a deep breath and notice, I'm going to actually walk you through this right now, and I want you to notice how what we're about to do turns off that scary movie about the future, or maybe turns off a sad movie about the past. And what I'd like you to do is simply stare at a spot that's in front of you, almost as if you're kind of just zoning out at that spot. Just focus on one spot intently and intensely. And as you focus on that spot, just begin to notice with your peripheral vision some things that you can see, and just name those things in your mind as you focus on that spot ahead. And I'd like you just to become aware of the sounds around you, or perhaps it's very quiet and just become aware of that silence. And just notice the sounds and note them in your mind as you stare at that spot. Perhaps becoming aware of sounds you didn't notice a moment ago. And as you continue to stare at that spot, just notice the feeling of being supported by the surface beneath you. Perhaps noticing different contact points where your body comes in contact with that surface. Notice the feeling of your clothing against your skin. Notice the feeling of your tongue inside your mouth. And just allow your teeth to separate. Notice being aware of the peace in this present moment. And just go ahead and hold that anchor and just let yourself experience peace, presence, resilience. And think to yourself, I am here in this moment, and it is good. And then you can come back once more to now. And now that you've all been following along for a moment, I'm going to ask you to get out of your comfort zone with me. So there's one of my fellow hypnotists named James Hazelrig has a book called Hypnosis. And it's about the science of laughter and how when we laugh, it secretes feel-good chemicals in the brain and the body and actually lets us experience peace. It literally changes the internal environment of our body. And if you've ever heard the saying, laughter is the best medicine, it's scientifically documented that that is true because laughter literally strengthens the immune system. It helps your body release things that it doesn't need anymore and helps the immune system kick in. And I have another book. It's sitting right here. I keep it close to me. This is one of my favorite books. It's called The As-If Principle by Richard Wiseman. And he talks about the science behind how changing our body language can change our emotions, can help us feel like we're in a really powerful place. So if you're struggling and feeling less than resilient, simply doing one of these exercises, holding your anchor, this is a physical movement, changing your posture, lifting your chin, changing the way you're breathing, doing that peripheral vision exercise we just did, those little things can help you step into a feeling of resilience. So in a moment, I'm just going to walk you through a laughter exercise. And we're just going to fake laugh. And I wouldn't be surprised if it turns into real laughter. But we're going to just be absolutely ridiculous. If you would follow along with me, I would love it. And if you would unmute yourself by clicking the microphone, so I'm not the only one being ridiculous, I would love that too. You don't have to. It's an option. But we're just all going to laugh together with people all around the world. And we're going to go through the vowels. A-E-I-O-U. Ha 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 ha. Hi 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 hi. Okay, so follow along. Hi ha 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 ha. Hi 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 hi. One more time. Oh, and hold that anchor. Hold that anchor. Feel that amazing feeling. Right now you are literally secreting happy chemicals in the body. Thank you all for playing along with me. I'm so grateful for you. That was so awesome. Okay, I'm going to mute everyone's mics again really quick just so we cut background noise. Okay. So I've showed you a few ways, and you'll have access to this replay. I'll send everyone an email in a couple hours with access to this replay, so you can watch this again if you need a reminder of all the tools that you have to let yourself step out of a feeling of being fearful or fragile and step into a feeling of resilience. And again, we're building these all into that anchor, so it can be just as easy as holding that anchor, especially if you kind of change your posture and body language. We did this on last week's call, but I'd like you just to imagine that a string is pulling you up from the top of your head right now. And that allows your shoulders to relax down and your bones to align. And then I'd like you to lift your chin a little, look up, outstretch your arms if it's comfortable to do so, and smile. And just take a deep breath from low in your belly like you're inflating a balloon. And with a long, slow exhale, just think to yourself, I am resilient. And as you smile, go ahead and hold that anchor, thinking, I am resilient. And notice how changing your posture, how changing your body language literally changes your emotions, changes your perspective about your situation. And then you can go ahead and release that anchor and come back to now. So in a moment, I'm going to walk you through a hypnosis session. And before I start, I'll open this up and ask if anyone has any questions or anything you'd like to share before we move forward, so I can make sure I'm meeting you where you are. And also at the end of this call, I'm going to stay on for a little while. So if any of you wants to just chat and just bask in this sense of community, perhaps if you've been feeling a little bit alone or isolated, we can just sit and chat. And if you need anything, I'll meet you where you are. But I'll end this call at an hour. I'll turn the camera off, and then we can all hang out if you would like to. So I just want to make you aware that that's coming. But I want to explain, many of you are hypnotists or are familiar with hypnosis. Hi, Keld, welcome. And some
Sorry,
of you
I'm late.
That's okay, I'm happy you're here. Some of you may be new to hypnosis, but I just want to let you know a little bit about what to expect. Last week on the group call, a couple of hypnotists said at the end, you know, I really enjoy hypnosis, but sometimes, especially in group sessions, I feel like I go so deep that I kind of just zone out and don't remember anything that was said. So I wanted to let you know that you may remember as much from this session as you would from any normal conversation, or you may zone out and forget, or maybe even fall asleep for a few moments. And I want you to know that whatever you experience, there's a part of you, an unconscious part of you, that's always monitoring and paying attention to everything that's going on around you. And that's a part of you that I'm going to be talking to anyways. And so you can expect that that part will make those changes on an unconscious level so that you're going to start to experience resilience. And I want to read you a little testimonial from last week. There was one gentleman on the call who, when I went through and said, okay, you're all going to be wide awake and feeling alert and refreshed, he just stayed in that zoned out state for quite a while afterwards. And he sent me this message, and I asked if I could share it, and he said I could. So he said, thank you so much for the invite to the session. I have to admit, I don't remember much of the session, but something has definitely changed. Things are getting done a lot quicker, and a great feeling of satisfaction around it. So thank you so much. So even though he was zoned out and didn't know what was going on, he's still experiencing those changes. So I want you to know that whatever your experience is, that you can expect to experience resilience in the coming weeks and months and even years, so that it becomes a new tool that's available to you that can be just as easy as holding that anchor. So some people, when they experience hypnosis, experience a sort of like a heaviness or a sinking feeling, as if they're relaxing into the surface beneath them. And some people experience a sort of a lightness or almost a floating sensation. And some people experience the mysterious sensation of just sitting and listening to my voice, thoughts drifting in and out, becoming distracted and coming back. And I want you to know that that's just fine too, that whatever you experience is just right for you. And you can trust your unconscious mind to give you exactly what you need, knowing that you set that intention at the beginning when you started to imagine, even if just getting a glimpse of what it's going to be like to experience resilience in the coming days. All right, so before we hop into the hypnosis portion, do any of you have any questions? There are no silly questions, and if you're thinking it, there's a good chance someone else is. So I'm going to peek in the chat. You're welcome to send a question via chat or unmute your microphone and ask that way as well. So I just see a few people saying hi in the chat. And if there are no questions, that's okay as well. Okay, so my promise to you, we are at 24 minutes into the hour. We're all in a different hour, so I won't say what time it is here, but I want you to know that this session will be somewhere in the ballpark of 20 or 30 minutes. But my commitment is to have you completely awake and alert and refreshed back in the room by the end of the hour. So if you have an appointment that you need to get to or something that you have going on next, I'll have you back, so you can just completely relax knowing that you'll be back in the room with us by the end of the hour. So, all right, I invite you just to think about anything that you've been worrying about, anything that's been bothering you, perhaps noticing any feeling of stress or tension or worry. And imagine that you could hold that thing in your hands right now. Those distracting thoughts. those uncomfortable emotions. And just imagine if those things were to perhaps become a helium balloon and just drift and float. You might even watch. Imagine that you're looking up and just watching those things drift and float. Knowing that you can have them back in the later if it's appropriate to do so. But for now, just basking in this present moment. And if you'd like, you can keep your eyes open for a while or you can let them close, whatever's most comfortable for you. I'd like you just to become aware of the sensation of being supported by the surface beneath you. The sensation of being supported by the people in this virtual room. People all around the world sharing this experience with you. Even if you're watching the replay, knowing that you are here with us right now in our hearts. Notice the feeling of your hands. And if it's comfortable and appropriate to do so, just allowing those hands to relax, maybe separate them in your lap. Noticing the feeling of your feet, the temperature of the air on your skin. And I just switched microphones, so if you can still hear me, could somebody just give me a little wave? Awesome, thank you guys. And I'd like you just to notice the feeling of your tongue inside your mouth. Allow your jaw to soften, your teeth to separate. Just allow the tiny muscles around your eyes to relax and release and let go. Allowing that relaxation to move down into your cheeks. Relaxation moving down into neck and shoulders. Relaxation moving down arms, wrists, hands and fingers. Just allowing yourself to experience a gentle wave of healing, comfortable relaxation moving down into your chest and back. Relaxation, comfort, rejuvenation moving down through your torso, sending revitalization to internal organs. A gentle wave of relaxation moving down into your hips and thighs, knees, shins and ankles. A wave of relaxation and comfort moving into your feet and toes. And I'd like you just to notice that feeling inside, that feeling of comfort, that feeling of peace. Perhaps noticing a feeling of being connected, a feeling of being loved and supported. That even though we are separated right now, that we are together, and just experiencing a sense of togetherness. And once more, noticing just having an awareness of being supported by the surface beneath you. Becoming aware of the actual sensation of contact, of being held in this safe place. Allowing yourself to experience a position of stability and poise, dignity and balance. And if at any time you need to adjust to get more comfortable, you're welcome to do so, knowing that it will deepen this beautiful experience.
And just allow yourself to let go a bit more. That's right. Letting go of the day or the morning you've had so far. Letting go of any thoughts about the future or what might happen next. Just give yourself permission to be here now, in this moment, knowing there's nothing you need to do right now, nowhere to be, just sitting with dignity, with your breath. Just allow your breath to hold you in this moment, actually sensing into your body, feeling your feet, legs, lower and upper body, arms, shoulders, neck, and head. Allowing your body to be rooted in the ground, feeling a sense of lightness and dignity about your posture. Just sensing the space that your body takes up in the room. Noticing behind you, to the sides of you, above your head. Beginning to notice the breath, the actual physical sensations. Feeling each breath as it comes in, as it goes out. Letting the breath just be there as it is. No need to change it or regulate it in any way. Simply allowing it to flow easily, naturally. Just noticing the rhythm and the pace. Sending an internal thank you to the breath. And noticing how gratitude feels in the body. And I wonder if you know that when you think those simple words now, thank you, that it creates a positive, resilient environment in the body. Thank you. In the mind, thank you. As you rest into this moment and simply be here, now. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Allowing the body to be still. Just sitting with a sense of dignity, of resolve, a sense of being complete, whole in this very moment. Noticing a sense of wholeness in the body. That's right. As you sit here, you can invite in the thought of a mountain, perhaps a most magnificent and beautiful mountain that you've seen in a picture that you know of, or a unique and original mountain from your imagination. Allowing the sense of this mountain to come to your senses, perhaps in the form of an image. And if there's not an image, that's okay, because you might imagine sounds or a feeling of the overall shape of its lofty peak or peaks high in the sky. The large base rooted in the bedrock of the Earth's crust. Its steep or gently sloping sides. noticing how massive it is, how solid, how unmoving, how beautiful, whether from afar or up close. Perhaps your mountain has snow blanketing its top and trees reaching down to the base, or rugged granite sides. There may be streams and waterfalls cascading down the slopes. There may be one peak or a series of peaks, or meadows and high lakes. Simply observing it, noting its qualities, noticing peace. And when you feel ready, imagine the mountain becomes your own body. Sitting here so that your body and the mountain become one. That's right. So that as you sit here, you share the stillness and majesty of that mountain. You become the mountain, grounded. Your head becomes the lofty peak, allowing a panoramic view. How beautiful the view is from up here. Noticing perspective. Your shoulders and arms are the sides of the mountain. Your body and legs, the solid base, rooted deeply to the ground. Experiencing in your body a sense of uplift from deep inside. With each breath, becoming more aware of the sensation of being a breathing mountain, alive and vital, yet grounded in inner stillness. Aware of the beauty of what you are. Beyond words and thought, a centered, grounded, unmoving presence. And as mountain, you become aware of the sun traveling across the sky. The light and shadows and colors change moment by moment. In the mountains, stillness. The surface teems with life and activity. Streams, melting snow, waterfalls, plants and wildlife as you sit as mountain, noticing and feeling how night follows day and day follows night. The bright, warming sun, basking in the warmth, followed by the cool night sky, studded with stars. Observing the beauty of those stars, those gentle lights of calm reassurance, and the gradual dawning of a new day. Through it all, you just sit as mountain, experiencing change in each moment, constantly changing, yet always just being. As mountain, you are as still and peaceful as the seasons flow into one another, as the weather changes moment by moment, day by day, calmness abiding all change, stillness and peace. You, as mountain, bathed in the warmth and color and vitality of summer. In the autumn, wearing a coat of brilliant shades of gold and amber. And when winter comes, there's snow on the mountain. Maybe it just sits on the peak, and storms may come. Wind, rain, hail. Huge storms may come, rustling through your plants and trees, crashing into your surface. And even through the strongest storms, you just sit in strength, in resilience, as mountain. And whatever happens on the surface, you are grounded. You are strong, dignified, peaceful. So just sitting as mountain with an unshakable groundedness, simply noticing the face of all change, noticing as you did earlier, as you just noted the things you could see, now simply noticing the changes on the surface. And in our lives, we can also experience periods of lightness and dark, of stillness and movement, happiness and sadness. We also experience our own storms with their various intensity, inside and outside. And you can endure pain and darkness, as well as light and comfort, constant changing in emotions and moods, energy and aliveness, just knowing that you can sit as mountain in this present moment, dignified, calm, with a gentle sense of acceptance of all change, knowing the storms will come and the storms will go, but also knowing we have a gentle strength within us, quiet dignity, rootedness, strength. And we can access that at any time, even now, sitting, breathing as mountain, and resting in awareness, moment by moment. People may come to see the mountain and comment on how beautiful it is, or how it's not a good day to see the mountain, that it's cloudy or rainy or foggy or dark, and none of this matters to mountain, which remains at all times its essential self, Clouds may come and clouds may go. The mountain's magnificence and beauty remain. In sun and clouds, in summer and winter, through it all you sit as mountain, tall, dignified, strong. And then spring. Spring arrives. Trees blossom. Flowers bloom. Birds sing in the trees. Streams joyfully flow and bubble with the waters of melting snow. So that every time you notice signs of spring, consciously or unconsciously, you remember and become aware that you are resilient, unmoved by the weather, by what happens on the surface, by the world of appearances, remaining your essential self, noticing the resilience within you, allowing it to grow and spread through the seasons, the changing weather, the activity ebbing and flowing on the surface. You embody the central, unwavering stillness and groundedness in the face of change. Over seconds, over hours, days, weeks, seasons, over the years, as you experience constantly changing nature of mind and body and the outer world on the surface, knowing we all have our own periods of light and darkness, activity and stillness, moments of color and drabness. It's true that we experience storms of varying intensity in the outer world, periods of darkness and pain, as well as moments of joy and uplift. Even our appearance changes constantly, experiencing a weather of its own. And by becoming mountain, you take on its strength and adopt its stability as your own. And this stability is accessible to you anytime you imagine being mountain. Anytime you hold that anchor, you will experience this stability, strength, resilience. That's right. And as mountain, we support our energy to encounter each moment with unshakable strength, presence, perspective, and clarity. Noticing even now that thoughts and feelings, preoccupations, emotional storms, even things that happen to us are very much like the weather on a mountain. We tend to take it personally, but its strongest characteristic is impersonal. The weather of our own lives need not be ignored or denied, but rather encountered, honored, felt, known for what it is, and noticed as we simply observe. We come to know a deeper silence and stillness and wisdom. And we learn this and so much more. as we experience stillness as mountain. And even now, your unconscious mind is memorizing this sense of resilience, of stillness, peace, calm, being rooted and grounded, still. And these sensations are being put into place in a way that brings the most healing, the most peace, the most resilience. So that from now on, even if you try and remember what it was like to worry, you notice resilience instead. Thinking about what you'll be doing next and imagining doing that from a place of resilience. Thinking about getting into bed tonight and noticing resilience. Going throughout your day as mountain. Knowing that whatever happens on the surface, at your core, you are strong. You are resilient. And as you sleep and dream tonight, this resilience will be memorized by your very DNA, becoming intricately woven into who you are. As you acknowledge to yourself, even now, I am resilient. I am resilient. I'd like you to imagine yourself a week from now. It's Wednesday and you notice the difference, remembering what it was like before and realizing that you are a different person, that you have tapped into that inner resilience, that you know, I mean really know, what it's like to be still, to observe changes from a place of stillness, a place of peace, remembering to use that anchor over and over. Every time you're using it, your body memorizes resilience even better. And you can trust your unconscious mind to make these changes and keep you safe by experiencing resilience. Knowing that whatever the weather is outside, you are safe. And in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And with each number up, you will become more aware of being in this moment with a sense of resilience, with a sense of stillness, experiencing the beautiful sense of community that is here in this virtual room today. Even beginning now to notice the sensation of energy in your fingertips and your toes, and noticing the sensation of the air on your skin. Because one can always come back to the surface feeling 3 times better than before. And you can open your eyes and be wide awake, feeling alert and refreshed on 5. Coming fully back into the room, wiggling fingers and toes, taking a deep breath. And even Joe can experience the sensation of waking up, feeling refreshed, feeling alert. And Joe, if you'd like to stay asleep and just enjoy this moment and bask in this experience, you're welcome to do so. And if you'd like to come back and join us, we'll be here when you're ready, just taking whatever experience your subconscious mind is giving you and enjoying it. Hi, Rob. I didn't see you before. Welcome, everyone. How was that? I'm going to switch my mic again. I don't like holding a mic, but this one records sound better. Okay, can you all still hear me? Okay. Actually, and now can you hear me? Okay. Kind of. I have so many different options for microphones. It's too many.
How's this? Yes? Okay. All right. Would anyone like to share their experience, or does anyone have any questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself or to speak in the chat. I'm going to peek into the chat. I see Randa saying, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Randa, saying it was great. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Definitely need the replay. Thank you all. So I will send you the replay. And part of the reason I switched mics is because I thought it would be cool to put an audio. I'll just clip the audio of the hypnosis session itself and make that available too on the page where I put the replay. So you can download that and listen. You can listen as you fall asleep at night. I do the little wake up thing at the end. So you can just set your intention to go right back to sleep afterwards. Or you can listen throughout the day, just sitting and experiencing that sensation of resilience as mountain, however often you need. So, all right, would anyone like to share? And you don't have to.
It was awesome.
Thank you, Alfonso. I'm so glad you were here. Yeah, these are fun for me. I absolutely love these sessions. I think I get just as much out of them as everyone else.
I went to the usual happy place that I always go to in hypnosis.
Where is that?
I don't know, somewhere.
Okay. I love that. Rob and I have, well, many of us in this virtual room have trained together in Toronto. If you've trained in Toronto with Mike Mandel, give me a little wave. So yeah, a lot of us. Yeah, I'm so grateful for every single one of you. So we're just about to the end of the hour. So what I will do, I'm going to turn this recording off. And then I'll go ahead and restart it again, just in case something really amazing happens and we want to put it up later. But this recording will just be for me personally. So feel free to share openly. I'm going to do this